Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to round 2. Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya. Welcome to another beautiful round of GT Sport Super Formula. Today, I'm not joined on my own. I've got someone else with me today. It is Mr. Ethan Graham, aka Thomas Ethan 2001, or VSR Thomas Ethan, as well as his new username is. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very good. You just came off a fantastic race on the Project Cars 2 Radical League, and now I've dragged you into the community box. So, I think you've commentated with us before. So, GT Sport, it's a new game. How are you going to think about all these drivers here?
Well, having watched what was at Fuji, it looks like we're up for a good race. GT Sport has been, the staple of brilliant racing, as you see in the FIA GT events and all that, and the super formers have proved to be very competitive and very well balanced cars, so I'm sure we're up for a great race here at Catalunya, unlike F1.
Yeah, of course, unlike the real life race in Formula 1, these Super Formula cars should bring up a bit more of a spectacle, a lot more of a close action. We got the likes of CPT. Now, VLX last time out took a 1-2-3 and then a 1-2-3-4. Hopefully, someone could beat them, because the domination that they've been going for is well and truly remarkable, to say the least. Now, we've always got to talk about this circuit as we see a few cars coming into the pit lane. We're coming down the main straight right now, and you'll pick up a lot of speed, up to about 180 miles an hour. You watch out for the right as well. It's a tricky turn one. These cars don't have as much downforce and mechanical grip as you'd think, so you should see some drivers making mistakes there. Clear the apex nice and easily, down to turn 2 and then up to turn 3. Big slide left and over. Those curves, again, very tricky. Down into turn 3, long right-handed, just never ends. Fight the car on the exit down towards turn 4. Under the bridge. Make sure the car is nice and gentle here. Do not want to lose the rear end here. As you now drop down the hill then towards the first of a few hairpins on this circuit, down towards the technical section. Make sure you get wide and not too much on those curbs, because the gravel trap, just like we saw there, can drag you off, and that really ruins your lap. Never mind, that will carry on. We'll wave him up the hill. Watch out for that curve as well on the exit. It can also really throw your car off into this almost completely flat turn 7. And now down towards what would be the DRS straight in Formula 1. These cars, of course, run without it. Down on the brakes, down to about first gear. Shut the corner in then. Make sure you get it nice and smooth on the exit. Up towards the last sector, then into the left, into the right before we come down towards the chicane. Added in 2008 for Formula 1 and MotoGP as well. Chuck it in, down into first gear, into the left, into the right, over the curb, and far away. And the VLX Nova comes into the pit lane and comes to play. CPT right now also on a lap there. He's driving, of course, the blue car, the beautiful blue Falcon livery as well. Always love to see all the drivers. We've got Sabitov right now in 5th position in qualification. And Ethan, if I'm not mistaken, you have the Team Ord standings, don't you?
I have the driver championship, which also gives me the teams of which drivers are within. So I'm just going to go over the top 3, which is currently dominated by all 3 VLX, well, 3 of 4 VLX drivers who run in the Volex esports team. So we currently got VLX Steve Gaming in 1st position, followed by the Brit VLX Nova, and then the Italian VLX Dennis. And then in 4th we've got VLX Chewy, who runs in the TRD Team Britain by VLX Racing, and then Captain JJ in Falcon Motorsport, RGD Gasmania in RGD Racing, Ash Racer 2011 in the Stuart Ford Racing, which, by the way, is an absolutely brilliant livery, by the way. Gotta give him a good shout out there. It's an absolutely gorgeous livery. Then we got Alonso in the MBGT. Oh, they make some interesting names, some proper tongue twisters. MBG2 Racing Team, there we go, got it 3rd try. And then RGD Rife in RGD Racing. And then we got Carl Fogarty
Yeah.
Is it Carl? No, Carl Fogarty is a biker.
No.
This is not two wheelers.
This is not
We got
two wheels on my wagon.
Yeah. Anyway, we got C Fogarty. My bad, mate. In the AOR Super Hype livery, beautiful livery there, representing AOR. And we got Ducati Rossi in the MBG2 racing team. And then Dudley. Is Dudley here today?
I believe not.
Okay, well, Dudley is currently in 12th position in the Repsol Honda HRC team. And then VLX Pink, I'm just going to say Pink for short, in the TRD Team Britain by VLX Racing.
Only currently 11 runners so far, potentially more to come. Right now, like VLX Nova on pole position right now by just over a tenth of a second from his fellow comrade of Dennis. Let's see, Nova across the line. Is he going to go even quicker? Comes the line. Does he improve? No, he does not. Stays there. CPT right now in third position there, so doing a good job for him then in the Falcon car. Down towards the chicane, down exit then. Want to be careful, get on the power, don't need to the rear end here. You can see it stepping out there a little bit on the exit. CPT comes to the line, let's see what he can do. Stays third for the time being. As currently in fourth, driving the Stuart Ford with Fernando Alonso's helmet, of course, from 2003. A little bit of a mismatch of colour schemes, but either way it looks beautiful. RGB currently of Gazmania in fifth, ahead of Sabitov in sixth. Good old Fogarty in seventh. Alonso in eighth. Rafe in ninth, ahead of Ducati in 10th, and so far Chude is in 11th position, the last of the runners so far in the session, with potential more to pop up in due course.
Well, I've got the team championship. To no surprise, we got Volex Esports in the top position, 140 points with a 41-point gap. You know, it's no surprise when the top two are Volex Esport drivers. And then followed in second is RGD Racing, and then TRD Team Britain, MBG2 Racing Team, Lexus F Racing, AOR Super Hype, Stuart Ford Racing, Falcon Motorsport, Bleeding Edge Margarita Motorsport, very interesting name, and to round off the top 10, Repsol Honda HRC.
And you've got to wonder, even especially with VLX showing up so far in every race and others not in it. It's their championship already to lose with such a big gap as well, isn't it? Especially when they've got both their drivers running on circuit.
Well, yeah, VLX just seem to have more drivers. They seem to have more drivers to spare, it seems. Like, they've got, what was it? We saw 4 VLX drivers in the practice sessions. And, like, we've got some people just running by themselves. So, like, it's, what's the word I could use? I guess unbalanced in some situations, because some drivers are just not going to score the points as what teams with multiple drivers are going to be able to. You know, that's quite clearly proven by the fact that 2 of the VLX drivers are sitting 140 points with a 41-point gap to second place in the team championship. So, you know, it all ties together, really.
Indeed, it all boils down there as CPT Double J locks a little bit up there into the tricky braking zone. I think there is a good old Charles Fogarty going off in the background there. That's his new name today, as he's now being a motorbike driver, driving the Essence, the Jordan livery. It is the AOR Hype team, but that is the old Jordan 2001 livery there, with its old snake front. Fogarty likes that car. It's his favourite car. I talked to him recently, and he definitely adores that team as well. No McLaren here today, I believe, as well. So we have only got the 11 runners. Bit of a shame only to have 11 out of the 15 here. But either way, as a checkered flag comes out in qualification, then to end the session, it is VLX Dennis on pole position, then comfortably by just over a tenth and a half there from his teammates, as he actually backs out of the session there. So I'm not sure he's meant to do that. It might be a little bit interesting, but either way, on a pole position from Nova. CPT Double J then in second, Ash in third, Sabitov in fourth, Alonso in fifth, Chudy in sixth, with Rafe in seventh, Ducati Rossi eighth, Dennis ninth. Gaz 10th. And Rafe is last then. So, a little bit of interesting stuff there, but nonetheless, Dennis and Nova up the front today. You've got to wonder, especially down to turn number 1, what can the Italian do? It's one of the longest runs of the season, Ethan, especially, well, in fact, one of the longest runs on any circuit down towards somewhere. It's about 300-400 metres odd. So, you've got to get a good start, don't you? It's crucial.
Yes, getting a start is very crucial. You know, especially in cars like this, you know, wheel spin is just going to knacker the rear tyres, and it's just going to ruin your run to turn 1. And it proves that if you don't have the line going into turn 1, you're going to lose out in the next couple of corners. So getting that all-important start is crucial. Some drivers might use their overtake system, which is a very nice addition with these cars. They come with a nice little overtaking system, kind of like Curse in LMP1 or the olden days of F1, where they just press a little button, it gives them a little bit of extra power for a bit, but it doesn't regenerate. It gets used over time, and there's no regeneration, so once it's gone, it's gone. So that's another thing they got to take into consideration. There's a lot of strategy to this, so we might see some of them use that to get to turn 1 a little quicker, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. There is Dennis, I think, almost slams as well. He's gone straight on it through the corner. So a lot of drivers pushing on despite the session being over, and a 10-second time penalty there for good old Dennis. So pushing on with the penalties. There you can see Nova off the circuit. That is down at turn. Is that 1, 3, 8, I believe that must be then down there. A few drivers bunching through all the AstroTurf there as the beginning, the end of the session, then in just a few moments time. That's a good 4th position there for the Stewart, as Gazmania in 5th, Alonso in P6 for the MGB team. So good for them being so far up. Alonso happy with that Chewy VLX 2D down in 7th position. He's ahead of Rafe, who should be starting at the back then. Fogarty in 9th, Ducati in 10th, and Savitov in 11th position then. So, we'll see what will happen then, down towards turn number 1. It'll be interesting to see what they can do as well. Dennis, I think, getting prepared for a little practice start here. You can see him rolling back down to the grid, so let's see if he does do one then. Let's see, we'll have a little on board with him, and see what he's going to do then. It's where the drivers, really, especially in GT Sport, they really get their trade together because they all do these practice starts. And the crucial thing is that start away. Getting into the first couple of gears there as he gets underway. There's a lot of traction there, and he's not going to be happy with that one, so they're going to keep practicing it. And even this is quite crucial and quite interesting to see. You don't often see drivers doing practice starts, do you?
No, this is something new to me. I mean, being a Project Cars driver, we don't quite get to do this opportunity. But you can just see like the amount of like attention they pay, you know, into this. Like they put so much effort, you know. It's very nice to see just how much effort goes into these races. Like people will say this is a game. Yes, it's a game, but still time and effort goes into this, and that's what people don't realize. And like especially esports teams, you know, all these esports drivers and teams, they put time and effort, practice, and you know, and all this training to be the best they can be. And it's nice to see, really, you know, because they want to do well, and of course they want us to do well. That's why they're racing. They're there to win. But the race isn't won in turn 1. You know, they know that. So
yeah,
it's always played for.
8 laps, I believe, could be ahead of the drivers if my calculations are correct, which they most certainly will be off by one of them. But let's see, is it going to be 28 laps? We'll find out. I'm just getting ready to go in a little moment time there, so quali is over, so the drivers are all just getting ready to go then. A bit of confusion in the chat. The session should be starting in due course, however, and we'll be getting excitement. They're building up the hype right now, and let's see what they can do. Alonso right now in P7, good qualifying for him, puts him ahead of his teammate, I believe, there then. By comparison, he's currently down in, I think he's ahead of him actually, potentially. Let's see, where is he then? His fellow teammate there, there's Alonso, so the only one running on the circuit right now then. And his teammate Ducati down at the back. Session will be starting in just a few moments' time then. And this is where we got the drivers to calm the nerves even, especially before a beginning of a race like this. It's going to be sky high, isn't it, with this rate?
It's the same in every race. Coming from a driver, you know, I can give a pretty good, you know, insight to what it is. Before the start of every race, there is usually nerves. Depends on how well the person, you know, can keep that, you know, to a minimum. Like sometimes, even myself, I get so flustered it's unreal. But these guys have trained. You know, they do it so much that it's not really an issue to them. But they know what they need to do. They've got it all set out, so they keep that pressure to a minimum. It's once those red lights go out and they go to green, that's when that pressure just disappears and they're on the ball straight away. They're like programmed, they're AI. They just know what they need to do, and it's brilliant to see.
Yeah, it's always good to see, especially there. Good practice start from Dennis again there. He's spun it down to turn one either way. It was just practicing the start. And you can just see, he is really wanting to go for this start. He's done, I think, 4 or 5 practice starts now. So he is going to be the man off the start line to try and do it. As you can see in the chat there, a few of the drivers talking about certain things. As they're all getting themselves sorted back in the grid positions there, so a little bit of an issue on the game, but nonetheless they'll all be getting themselves into grid position in brief moment. Gazmania, Sabitov, Alonso then ahead of Tuday, and then RGB, Rafe and Ducati Rossi down in 10th right now then, with a few other drivers getting ready to go. 30 seconds remain then, and they can see Dennis, and that should be, he's at Nova then. Yep, Nova and Dennis doing another practice start here. And let's have a quick check then. Who's going to get a best start? Are they going to launch off at the same time? Let's find out then. As you can see, both the VLX Nova driver and Dennis getting themselves off the start. And this just shows how much maturity and how confident they are at their opportunity down to turn 1. They're both going to go for it there. A few other drivers getting ready to potentially do a practice start as well. So, a lot of action. Lap 1 is getting ready to go then. Here we go. 8-second countdown then. Before we get onto the grid then here. For 40 minutes of action. 40 minutes ahead of the drivers. Idskeve could be one of the VLX boys. And who knows? Anything can happen here in Super Formula. And as Murray Walker once said, it usually does. Dennis will be on the left of your screen. Nova on the right. Especially down towards turn number 1. Nova will have the inside line towards turn number 1, so it's all going to be his to lose. 40 minutes ready to count down then ahead of the drivers. And let's get ready to go then in just a few seconds time. Who is it going to be down towards that elusive turn number 1? And they're on the way then. So, how we get underway finally then here in round number 2. It's a good start immediately there from Nova. He's done what he needs to do then. Down towards turn number 1. Good start for the driver. Now they chuck it down. There's going to be contact into turn 1 behind. I think they'll get away with it cleanly. Nova leads from Dennis in second. A few cars running wide. That CPT off the road there in the background. Keeps himself all on check then. But it is Nova. Crucially leads off the start then from Dennis. Ash in third. Ahead of Sabitov in fourth. Alonso in fifth. Fogarty in sixth. They're all bunting up. One car off down the back. I think that might be one of the Falcon cars. But Nova crucially leads. Come down to the hairpin for the first time. Nova, Dennis, Ash, good start for him as well. Then we've got a great scrap going on here between the likes of Alonso there, battling away up the inside of CPT there, Double J. So he did get the start then, getting a little contact there, Riv. I think that must be Ducati then. Ducati have a brilliant start, I must say there, from down there in 10th position up to 8th already, and that's exactly the start he wanted to make. And they come down towards the hairpin then, and let's see, are we going to see an opportunity then? Ducati down the inside, gets the car stopped, easy come then, don't want to run the car too wide, does get it wide though, that's a bit costly, let's through CPT, let's through Gazmania, Rafe might try and come around the outside, be brave stuff to go the long way around that, can't do it straight away, he might try and cut back on the exit though, but could not get the start he needed then, so again, good stuff from all the drivers as there goes Rossi off the road. Runs deep, runs wide, and there'll be a penalty there to add to him then, so he'll have to slow down. ever so slightly. A 1 second time penalty. You should get rid of that pretty quickly there, but that's costly. Up front, VLX, Nova and Dennis already going at it there with Ass Racer then. So top 3 drivers immediately batting at this race, and Ass, crucially, keeping with the VLX boys so far, Ethan. This is great stuff as well.
Yeah, just going back to the start, regardless of how many times Dennis did his practice starts, he lit up the rears before he even got to like the timing line, you know. And Dennis was 4 attempts ahead going into the apex of turn 1. He just nailed the start, but Dennis has kept with him, and now he's got a few cars behind him. I don't think he's worried too much about that. I think his main target is getting past Nova at the moment, but so far, pretty clean start.
Yeah, Ass Racer there in 5th. We're going to have a look down at the back, by the way, because it was Tuday who made that bad start. And we'll have a little check of that later on in the race once some of the action calms down. But so far, Nova is the one leading from Dennis, 9 tenths the second there between those 2 drivers. And that is the important thing. They do want to keep with each other. 1 second maybe the gap so far. These 2 drivers are not on the same team, if I'm not mistaken. They're in the slightly different VLX team. But either way, they are going to push at it, and they're going to push hard before the end of this race. We're on lap 2 with 37 laps to go, or 37 minutes should I say. And here behind is Ass Racer having a little look around the outside, then thinks about the outside line. We brave stuff to go the long way around, has to back off of it there. But still, incredibly hard driving from Ass. He really wants to get this position done. Remember in Fuji just 7 days ago, it was Ash who was trying to pressurize Dennis for a mistake, put him down out of the running for the podium, and he needs to make sure today he does not make the same mistake and does not fall in the same trap. Sabitov as well, a beautiful start for him. He's up into 4th position in this race, and I must say, good stuff. You're looking at 3rd and 2nd right now. That is the great rivals of Dennis and Ash, and you can see by the body language of the Stewart, he is pushing on. He wants to make sure that gap closes up a little bit. Sabitov a little bit on the grass into turn 8 and 9 there. Easy corner to lose the rear end. We've seen crashes and drama before in GT races, as well as Formula 1, Formula 2. Of course, this car based on the Dallara chassis, which also runs in the Formula 2 season, as well, of course, the Super Formula car, which it currently is as its format. Remember though, these cars may be slightly slower than the Formula 2 car, but either way, slightly slower, a bit more close action. And I'd like to say, so with the car, and especially in open world, the more fun you have, the more close to the fielder. Right now, though, Nova opening that gap up, pulled 3 tenths ahead of Dennis. He's currently in 2nd place. Ass a fine 3rd there for the fellow driver there in the Stewart car. The background there, good battle going on between Alonso, and that's Fogarty there going side by side down towards turn number 1. Fogarty will have the inside line. He'll force Alonso wide, does do it now. Alonso will have to go wide, he'll have to get him back through then. Now that's a mistake I've seen before in Formula 1. Gives me a little reminder of a certain Grosjean. That Fogarty a bit slow on the exit low, but they're driving very aggressively right now on lap 4. Fogarty's doing everything he wants to do and saving his tyres right now. CPT trying around the outside then. He won't do it there either. This track as well, so difficult to overtake. You have to really get the opportunity to pounce on it. As soon as you can pounce, you can come through. Right now though, it's trying to find that opportunity to pass. Turn 1's a good chance if you can hook the line up down towards turn 1. The outside line, always possible, up the inside as well. These cars, especially as they're slightly slower than some other of the Formula cars, and a little more easier to follow in the dirt. Yeah, right now, like Nova and Dennis starting to pull away now from Ass, who has a 10th penalty. That won't cost him too much. Sabitov in 4th. Then the grey scrap between Fogarty, Alonso and CPT. Ducati, Rossi in 8th. RGB, Gaz and Tuday down in 11th. We have a torrid start for him. Meanwhile, though, still Dennis is starting to close actually. Now he's pulled 2 tenths that last lap left, so the driver's starting to push on their last lap time of 127.1. Compare that there to a 127.3, so 2 tenths a lap quicker. But just look at the turn 1 speed that Nova can take. Pulls a couple of tenths straight out of there, so it looks to me like Nova's a little more comfortable at these first couple of corners. Into the last sector, you'll see Dennis starts to close up. Ass starting to drop back a little bit right now. He's under a bit of pressure here from Sabitov right now in the, I believe that's the red car at least, the red and black car, and well, that Exxon team then. And he's doing good ahead of the Stewart. But the Stewart car, crucially, with its good old Tarkin livery with the old Alonso helmet, much improved from the last race where it finished down in 7th. Currently lies himself in a fine forward position right now. Fogarty there, stuck behind Alonso actually right now, the other Alonso in the race. The actual name is Alonso as well, so good to see ahead of Charles Fogarty, driving his heart out in the AOR hype team. Then down into the brakes behind him there, CPT Double J trying to keep with him. RGB Wraith there, Renate. Gaz, and they're having a battle. Ducati up the inside, late on the moves. There, a bit of a contact there with Gaz. Gets through on the line though on the other RGB car. Drops down. RGB down in 8th and 10th. Disappointment for them as Ducati rather forces the opportunity up the inside. Gets the move done nonetheless. So that is the crucial thing. He needed to make a move and got through. Now can he chase down Wraith now and not make mistakes? That's the crucial thing. Let's have a quick check actually at the start of this race then. And let's have a look what happened down the back, because we saw Tuesday off down towards turn number 1. So let's have that crucial check down there and what happened, as well as just looking at Dennis's start then. So we're just getting ready to go for the start of the race, of course, getting still used to these cameras. But let's have a review actually that terrible start relatively to Nova then. So we're on board with Nova. We'll just see how much of a better start this driver actually got then. He just hooked it up. And so he's getting ready to start then on this replay, staying on for a little time there. You can see the lights getting ready to come on and they go up, and just look at the start. He hooked that up with flawless precision there, and he just moved across straight away and nothing could he do. Let's have a look down at Tuesday by the way and see what happened to him down to turn number 1 then, because he was spinning off then. So I presume he's got it on the curb or something round turn number 1 and 2. A few cars run themselves wide there, 1-2 cars there, and yeah, he had contact there. That was with Alonso then. That's the reason why he went off the circuit. So contact with Alonso, and that is why he's down right down the back right now. Disappointing, I must say, but mistakes like that happens. You can see he's down in 12th position. Meanwhile, great battle going on between Ali's Gaz off the road. Now, what has happened there? I must say, he's gone off the road. We'll have a little check of that, what's happened to him in due course. CPT Double J out of the session. What has happened there for him? Sabatov now overtaking us races as everything's kicked off just then as I was looking at the replays. So, all of a sudden, the race has turned on its head. One car out. Sabatov there in 3rd position. And I must say, good move, I presume, then. We'll have a look at it in due course. As now in 4th position. Alonso in 5th. Fogarty in 6th. Wraith in 7th, Ducati in 8th, Tuesday 9th now, and Gazmania into 10th position, Ethan.
Yeah, just looking at the replay, it was just that start Nova got was just absolutely flawless. It looked like Dennis just completely bogged down before, like he pulled away, and then the car just bogged down, and then it started wheel spinning as he reacted to that, and it just a complete mess from there. But he's kept the car close. Yeah, Chewy got a bit of a horrible, well, it wasn't a horrible start. Got just very unlucky that Calamity's in front of him, then turned into his worst nightmare where a car pulled back out onto the circuit right in front of him, and he just had nowhere to go, unfortunately. So I think he's been gifted the position though for someone presumably disconnected from the session, so it's all still to play for though with 29 minutes to go. Yep,
Nova's starting to catch up. Nova's starting to drop back towards Dennis again. These two drivers now 1 second between each other right now. Behind them, Sabatov and Ass. And you can just see again this trend, Ethan, that these top 2 drivers rather pulling away very quickly at the start of this race. And that is especially, they're only running through their tyres, but they've got a 5-second lead already.
Yeah, they're just working together.
Felix Tudor just to cut over you there quickly, Ethan. So another retirement. Back to you.
Oh dear. Yeah, Dennis is just staying at a point where I don't know if I haven't raced on Gran Turismo enough to know if there is dirty air, but apparently from other research, these cars actually are affected by dirty air once you get into a certain proximity. But Dennis is just staying close enough where he's got some type of toe. It's not a huge toe, but he's still got that little bit. And they're just taking the ideal lines. They're just being so gentle and not, well, as Dennis goes off at turn 9, so quite a bit there. Obviously, I'm behind because I'm on the stream, but they're just working together and just nursing the tyres while also extending the gap. That is just training and exercising at its very finest. You know, these drivers train, they know what they're doing, and they're putting it into practice, and it's awesome to see.
Indeed, they definitely are, but Dennis currently second position, 6 seconds ahead of Sabitov and Racer. Wouldn't be surprised to see any of these drivers take a really early pit stop, but taking those early pit stops, especially in Gran Turismo, doesn't always pay off the best. RGB Rave now has overtaken Fogarty in the meantime, therefore 7th and 6th position, so switch off between those two drivers, and Fogarty comes in the pit lane. Actually, when I mentioned about is anyone to make an early stop, so as well Alonso. Now this is the crucial thing, getting these pit stops correctly, of course. You may see the cars judder and jump down the pit lane a little bit, of course, that's just what happens occasionally, but either way, we've always wanted to see a good old pit stop, but of course they don't drive down the pit lane like you would imagine, especially in other games like Formula 1 and project cars. They rather teleport halfway down the pit lane. A little bit unfortunate in my opinion, but still, mistakes like that easy to make. Let's have a check, by the way, down and see what happened to a few of the drivers earlier on. Let's have a look what happened to Gazmania, who's currently running in 6th position earlier on as he went off the road then. So let's see, that's where you can see that, so if we can get a better view of that, that would be good. Let's go on to that one then. So let's see, on board we see with Gazmania, I think he's going to make a lock up here or something, and just run wide. It was contact with Ducati Rossi then. That's why he went off the road. So Ducati Rossi there made a dive up the inside. That was the reason why. So we cut to Ducati then on board of him. We'll see what happened to him. I think he's going to lock up, you know, brake late, try and make the dive. Very audacious stuff. He made that accidentally there. So very odd stuff being that late on the brake. Rather punted the poor old Gaz off the road then, and Chudio of course disconnected a few moments later. But that there is a real shame for him. Dennis now leads as Nova in the pit lane.
Yeah, so regarding to people pitting, I have got the tyre compounds for this race. So for the feature race, which I'm guessing the feature race is 40 minutes, I'm not too sure. Yeah, medium or soft compounds are available, so people pitting now might be on the soft compound. We don't actually know because the game doesn't give us a tyre wall or like a colour band to know which tyre is which, but I'm guessing people pitting now are on the softs are going to go onto the mediums or stay on the softs maybe, I don't know, unless there's a mandatory like compound change, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Well, right now you're currently seeing on your screen this rather peculiar sight of Sabitov driving without tyres. Now that there is a bit of that is a graphical glitch that I've picked up from the replay cameras. Unfortunately, that when someone's in the pit lane, that can happen. But to imagine having a lot of turn, I suppose, because he's technically a hover car, wouldn't you say, Ethan? Right now.
Well, I mean, he's shedded a bit of weight, and he's now not got as much turbulent air going over the invisible wheels now, so he should be able to go a lot faster. I've never seen that before. That actually looks so goofy. That's actually brilliant.
Yeah, it's always some Gran Turismo, ladies and gentlemen. Always sometimes has the best of thing. That, of course, is small mistakes that can happen. Rafe and Nova battling together. And Nova already right up behind Rev. Think he's coming in the pit lane. Let's go on board then with Nova. And already you can see he gets a good exit out of the last corner. Look at the grip he's got already. Comes alongside, side by side, down the straight then. These two Titans then. Rafe, Nova. Look at this. Well stuff. Down towards turn 1. Up the inside goes Nova then. Easy stuff. Rafe there on a different compound. Different strategy as well. Nothing he can do, of course, and now Nova can go chase after his teammate Dennis, but crucially they are 23 seconds apart. Should be Nova in the lead once they pit, of course, with Dennis dropping about a second a lap right now, but remember, we'll have fresher tyres later on. That's Racer currently in 5th position right now. Ducati Rossi going off the road there in turn number 2. Must be careful there as his teammate Alonso comes through, and that's a bit of a mess there for Ducati. Must be careful, he's lighting those rears up, he's a bit desperate to get back on the circuit there. Gets himself back on it. And there you can see an easy mistake again for these drivers, Ethan, and these tyre compound, definitely they're smaller compared to other series, so easy stuff to do. They're overheat, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think Gran Turismo simulates tire temperature, but that's in real life situation or a more advanced game would have certainly killed the tyres by, you know, obviously more heat, the higher the tyre pressure goes. So that certainly wouldn't have helped. And he just had an absolute nightmare getting back onto the track. The car just dancing around, going like a madman, just no grip whatsoever, and it just kills your time regarding track position. So yeah, that is certainly something he's going to want to forget.
And here we go on board with it then, so let's see what happens. He's going to get on the curb, isn't he? Yeah, go on the curb and hit the sausage curb as well on the inside. That's the reason he spun, and then he just got it back on the grey stuff, got on the green stuff, then got on the black stuff and kept spinning around, so he overheated those tyres, especially when they get dirt on them. You could see that almost plain white. That's how much they were ruined by that point. And again, he goes off the road again then. What is going on for Ducati Rossi? He's having a real torrid time of it, and I think he's coming in the pit then. Those tyres must be absolutely shot as he crosses in the pit road. My goodness, and that there is the last thing you want to see there. That's a little bit embarrassing there, crashing into the entrance of the pit lane. And at least luckily he won't have too much damage, of course, but he gets away with it. Dennis leads right now from Nova in P2 by 15 seconds.
Crashing in the pit lane. That's a new one. I mean, I've seen reverse entries into the pit lane, which is interesting, but thankfully Gran Turismo doesn't have simulated damage. That definitely would have been the front suspension and the front wing completely demolished. But yeah, that's a funny one, that.
Interesting comment in the chat, by the way. Would a floating car be quicker through the gravel trap? Yeah, you know what? It would be, I imagine, because it'd be floating over the top of it. So technically, it would actually be just flying everywhere, actually. It wouldn't matter if it was grass, gravel, or anything, because it would be going the same speed. So that's pretty dangerous if we ever have floating cars. You might have to have some thicker air, I imagine, to slow the cars down, would they not? Don't know how
it could be.
like that.
I am no physics magician, but yeah, I don't think the car would have any effect going over any material, depending on certain aspects. But yeah, I guess in Gran Turismo physics, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We'll find out if he goes off the road. We'll see him going off back to the ground. Of course, he does have tyres in real life. Don't worry. You know, I haven't just forgot to put tyres on. Just on our screen, they forgot to put the tyres on. Who knows? They may have forgot to put tyres on. Look at the gap, by the way. Nova's down to 11 seconds off Dennis. Dennis is staying out. Actually, no, he's coming in just when I mention he's staying out. So, well, that just sums me up sometimes. So, decided he comes in a little bit later, lap 13. Now, he should potentially be able to stretch off a one-stop, potentially, because I think Nova's gone for the two-stop here today.
Well, we've got 20 minutes to go, and it should be feasible. It depends what tyres Dennis goes on. I mean, we have no idea what they're going on, you know, so we just kind of got to go off with their pace, really. Yeah, Dennis on the soft compound then, on the red rules then. It's showing on the telemetry screen just there. So it does sometimes come up when they pit what tyres they change onto. But Nova now leads by 12 seconds from Saratov. As Racer in third, Dennis comes out down in fourth, I must say. That is cost him a heap of time. He's 25 seconds off the lead. But he's behind he's behind Sabatov, who, remember, they've already made their pit stop even. So it really shows that Dennis has gone for a very audacious and bold strategy here today. I'm guessing he went on the medium tyre. Yeah, I think he has gone on then. Either he saved his soft tyres while being behind Nova and then tried to extend that by trying to get some good laps in and then coming in, but he just seems to have lost a heap of time all of a sudden. So I'm tempted to think that he's stuck out on the softs and he's just stayed out a lap or two longer than he actually needed to, and it's cost him, but he has 90 minutes to regain any time he has lost now, so it's still up for grabs. Well, so far Alonso, 12-second lead, almost 13 seconds right now. He's just doing the thing he needs to do, opening the gap more and more. Down battle here between Fogarty, Alonso, Gaz and Rossi right now there. So a lot of very big names. We've got Alonso, we've got Fogarty, and we've got Rossi. So three titans, two titans of bike racing, one titan of Formula One. And I suppose IndyCar, Le Mans, whatever you want to say, just motorsport in general these days. I'm surprised you haven't seen Alonso on a bike yet. Though I suppose he did that in Baku, who have two wheels on his car, but nonetheless.
these drivers driving very hard right now, and I must say, I do love Fogarty's tribute to the Jordan of 2001.
Honestly, I just love all deliveries here. You know, like games like, you know, Gran Turismo, iRacing, etc. It allows the drivers and the teams to make themselves identifiable. You know, and it's also their, you know, unique point. It's who they are, and you know, allowing, you know, these game developers, etc., allowing the players to be creative. You know, makes for, you know, greater and more how can I word this? More visually better, I guess, is the easiest way for me to put it. It makes it look better, basically, and it also makes it easier for us commentators to identify the cars, and it makes it easier for the fans and the viewers to identify the cars. So it's a win-win, basically.
CPT rejoining the session there, so I think he's having serious connections. Remember, we will have a race after this, and I hope it isn't causing destabilizing the lobby, should I say that? Destability, I can't pronounce my words sometimes. But either way, that's what happens when you're dyslexic. Down the straight, here comes Gazem Fogarty. Tries around the outside there, we'll go on board with him. Let's see, try and get this textbook cut back there, and that's exactly what to do. But Fogarty, firm and fair, covers him off there into that tricky little corners complex. And in no way through that. Now he right on board, down towards the chicane, down towards the straight. And you've got to wonder, is there an opportunity to come through? There is always a possibility. Both of the drivers, or three of them, ahead as well as Alonso, all have full cars, I imagine. They're all full deployment mode right now, so he's not used any of it so far in this race. Here comes Gaz, he's using a bit of it now then. As he goes alongside, up the inside he goes, he's using a lot of it now then. Gets through, fuck it, he's going to try and come back at him though on the brakes. Can't do it, and Gaz now up to 7th. But crucially has used a lot of his energy system.
Yeah, you saw the LED lights going red above the engine intake. So yeah, he's used quite a bit now. I think the red means like he's got, what is it, like maybe a quarter left or something? I
believe so.
Oh, he's gone back to green now, so I don't know how much is left. I'm sure on the telemetry it will come up with how much is actually left. So yeah.
Indeed, RGB Gazmania right now though. He's coming straight back onto Alonso now for P6 in this race. So he's dispatched Fogarty. Now he's going to try and dispatch Alonso straight away then. So true pace for Gaz then. Let's see, is he close enough to make a dive up the inside, led on the brakes? Down the inside goes Gazmania. Alonso tries to cover him off though around the outside. Fair stuff there for Alonso, but can't do it on the exit. Loses the rear on the curbs, and Gaz now takes 2 cars on the same lap. Good stuff for him and his fellow teammates as well. RGB down quite far down the field as well. Actually, he's just ahead of him actually in 5th position. My apologies there. So both those drivers 5th and 6th from what they were 8th and 10th a couple of laps ago. We're on lap 16 then. 17 we're currently on now for your leaders, and they are currently leading by 15 seconds. But remember, expect them to be coming in.
You know, this is what I love about spec racing. The cars are so closely matched. The BOP is so close. It's all down to the driver. It really brings out the skill and highlights the talent that these drivers have. You know, there's no, you know, like different engines or, you know, different aero, etc. helping them out. You know, it's all the same chassis, the same power, all the same. The only difference is the driver, and that's what counts, because it really does highlight, you know, the aspects of a driver and what they can do.
Indeed, we just saw there how much ERS overtakes race here that Nova currently has. He has just over the full bar length, only a quarter of it now for 2nd position then, so he's used quite a lot of it there. And that's a little bit disappointing there for Sabitov there. He's used quite, it's not disappointing to say, but if he gets into a battle, that's going to cost him a lot more time than it would. Ass has just come in the pit lane, by the way, 6 litres in the tank. Now, that to me proves that drivers are going to do 2 stops. So I think if Dennis can hold these tyres on, potentially he can win this, well, not maybe win the race, but he can definitely finish on the podium. But we'll find out. Remember, 7 days ago, we saw the exact same strategy as well, where Dennis or one of the LX drivers went on for a really long time and they dropped off right at the end. Could we be seeing the similar thing today? Who knows? But right now, Nova, we expect him in within the next 3 odd laps then, with around about 10 minutes to go. Let's see if he does, though. We believe as well, Dennis, he will not be coming in. He's going to be able to do the 20 minutes as well, but he will lose a lot of time at the end of this race. So I think Nova, despite this, will still come out in the lead. If not, he'll come out in second, depending on what Sabitov does. And in he comes then. Now, this has to be crucial. He needs to get this stop good. He needs to come out ahead of Dennis. And if he does do so, surely with it, he'll retain the lead on merit, of course, once Sabitov comes in. If he isn't going to come in on this lap then. No, so Sabitov will lead the race, but I believe on counter that Nova should still lead once everyone makes their stops, of course, unless Dennis, but yeah, Dennis will really fly ahead. He's already coming down the pit road then, so stonking pace for him, and he's actually miles ahead, actually, so, of course, God, you should see Nova won't be as far back as it seems then. He'll be a little bit closer, but only, I think, 4 or 5 seconds between the pair of them. 9 seconds, actually. So, fair play to Dennis. I unanticipated how long a pit stop was in this thing then. So it was more than 20 seconds in the pit lane. So, surprising there. But Sabitov leads with his 0 wheels. And I suppose he won't be having too much tyre wear right now. But he might have to service the how he's managing to fly. The hovering aspects might need a bit of topping up of the old hoverboards. Nova in third, Ash in 5th right now. He's stuck behind RGB Wraith. Gasmania in the pit lane right now. He's stuck behind Fogarty, and he should come out ahead of Ducati, who's gone off the road again. And that there is the 4th time he's gone off today. So he is really having a torrid time of it then. Let's have a little check if we can then. What happened to him then? And he went straight on then. So broke late. Lost the rear, and that is the reason he is in the gravel trap then. So a small but crucial mistake for these drivers, as in comes your race leader of Sabitov then. That'll release Dennis then into the lead, and he's got an 8-second lead right now, Ethan, but I fear that will close down pretty quickly with 11 minutes to go.
Yeah, that will close down. Yeah, but for these, the pit stop procedure for these cars looks like tyres first and then fuel goes in. They don't do it all at the same time like in F1. So I guess that explains the long pit stop procedure.
Yeah, well, good news, by the way, that Sabitov has officially got some tyres now. They've decided to put some on, it seems then, unless they come off unless they fall off again. No, he's got tyres. I repeat, he's got tyres. They put them on finally. So great news then for Sabitov. He's now got 4 rules, and the regulations are back on for him then. Dennis leads by 7 seconds from Nova. In has come Rafe and Alonso then. And let's see where they come out in comparison to Gasmania, his fellow driver. Gaz currently driving in 8th position, and he would very much want to come out ahead. Down the pit lane, RTB Rafe already out the pit lane. Let's see, he should potentially jump Alonso and Fogarty though. Let's find out. He should be able to cut in a brief moment here. He's ahead of Alonso, he's ahead of Fogarty. That's crucial, that's what he needed. 6 seconds between the top 2. We're on lap 20, so I believe we should be going to lap 28 then, so it should be about bang on my mark then, potentially. But knowing mine, it'll only be 25 laps now, is something weird. Nova, P2, starting to catch a little bit. 5.6 seconds the gap between the top 2. Sabitov in third, 20 seconds back.
Wow. It looks like, well, what's Sabitov's gap to Ash Racer? For me, it's about 5.5 seconds, but the crucial thing is what Dennis and Nova are going to do. Are they going to hold position, or are they going to battle it out? I mean, they've got the gap to battle it out, but surely they don't want to throw it all over, throw it all out the window, so to say.
That would not be ideal, but either way, Ash currently involved from yet with a 1.9 second penalty there. He's almost 6 seconds off Sabitov right now. Behind them, of course, got Rafe, Gaz, Alonso, Fogarty and Ducati. All 9 drivers in this race there. Ducati may be ghosted right now, but hopefully that is not going to be a retirement for him. Dennis Slope, lap 21, 3 seconds. My goodness, Nova's taken a heap of time out of him there. That is some outstanding outstanding pace there, and a 125.7. Compare that to Dennis's 128.2. He's flying up to the back of him here, and surely that there is going to be the race lead maybe on this lap, Ethan.
Well, I mean, if you get at the telemetry, we'll be able to see the tyre status of Dennis, but yeah, the Nova's completely flying right now. But I'm pretty sure Dennis will realise this. Whether he's going to give up the position or not is yet to be seen. But yeah, Nova is going to make this quick and easy. But yeah, you can see, for me at least, later in the stream, the front left on Dennis's car is taking an absolute beating. Nova's tyres are fresh as cotton candy. I don't even know what that saying's supposed to be, but his tyres are a lot more fresh, hence his pace. But yeah, Dennis has got some work to do if he wants to keep first place. Yeah, both of course running very even amount of fuel as well, so that should be fine. 1.6 seconds between these two drivers though. On board we go with Nova, and here you can see 1.4. He's closing rapidly right now. Not as much as last that. So the gap is going to be closing a little bit less. But remember, I feel that this should be quite an easy manoeuvre here. I don't think Dennis is going to put too much of a fight up then. 7 minutes to go. I think he's more focused on getting second position then. So his audacious strategy again for the second race in a row for Dennis has not worked. He's been very good at doing this attempt for a one-stop. But I think he was more looking for second. Nova, who won double last time out, is going to try and make a third victory in 3 attempts here, and that'll be absolutely incredible. In the slipstream now, 3 attempts. He's a little bit too far back to make any audacious move down towards turn number 1, so we'll just sit on board with him then, and you'll see him potentially try to do it down into turn 3 and 4. It's a long flowing right hand, and you can just see the grip he's got then. Let's see, he'll have to go around the outside if he wants. There's a car going off. I think that might have been Fogarty there in the background, potentially, or one of the other RGB boys. And you can see these two teammates battling hard together, well fought, making sure they don't collide. That is the important thing. Don't hit your teammate, that's rule number 1. Don't hit anyone, that should be rule number 2. They come under the PlayStation sign, up the hill, then down towards the famous camper corner. Into the right, up the top, and make it nice and easy. And there you can see 3 attempts. They're not closing up done yet, really affecting right now Nova. So he's going to have to really try and make the move down the main straight towards the first corner. Let's see, where's the real opportunity to try and make the move? Again, Dennis losing the rear end there. Again, you can see him trying left, he's trying right. He thinks about trying to make a move, but there you can see Dennis. Great, he's parking the bus rather good right now. He's just holding him up. He's got to do this for another 5 minutes though, and I don't think he's going to do that, unfortunately. Clouds to kill the pair of them. Bit wayward there, and that's going to allow Dennis slightly pull away, but he runs a bit wide. Now in the slipstream. Now here it comes. He'll lose a lot of his ERS deployment mode, and this is the opportunity he really can try and make then if he's close enough, but still stuck behind his fellow comrade. Yeah, it's quite surprising that Nova didn't quite get the exit out at the final sector, but that's just usually the way the final sector is. Following a car through there is so difficult. But really, he just needs to focus on setting it up after the fast right-hander going into the hairpin. I think that's the best option. He just needs to take a nice wide line without going into the grass and doing a Gasly and a Hartley, and setting himself up for the hairpin. Unless he decides to go for a lot earlier, but I'd recommend personally going for the move in the hairpin before the final sector.
Yeah, well, that's it, actually. He's got a good exit here as he come through camper then. That's it. Gets a good line. I think you might be right, you know, Ethan, because here we go. He's got a good line then. He's going to be going to the outside. Good defending again then from Dennis. He's going to fight it then, but let's see. Try and get the car back then. But still, Dennis holds. They fight on the exit. Nova's got the tractor, but Dennis somehow holds him off. Still, these two drivers. Great stuff between the pair of them. They are all using their deployment. They're all using the overtake mode. But still, Dennis holds it with 3 minutes to go here in Spain. Here at Circuit de Barcelona, to Catalunya. Here today. The great racing again though. Dennis holds the line. He holds the pace. He leads this race comfortably there. By only 0.3 of a second, Nova tries the long way round down towards turn number 1. Can he do it? Can't do it. Has to back off. He is trying to find every opportunity he can in the book. but nothing, absolutely nothing he can do right now. But he gets a good exit again, though. Can he try slipping on the inside? No, a little bit too far back. He is only going to be getting more frustrated right now, Ethan.
He just needs to stay calm. That is the most important thing. He's obviously got the pace. He's got the better tyres. He just needs to plan his attack.
He's got the inside. I think he's got it this time then. Side by side. Here comes Nova. Now gets alongside as he come up towards Camper. And he's got through before the hill then. So finally, Nova into the lead then. Here of the Spanish Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Dennis. But Dennis, can he try and make a comeback? I feel not. Already 4 or 5 attempts down. So Nova, unless he makes a mistake, with 2 minutes to go, leads the Spanish Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Dennis. 23 seconds ahead of Sabitov there. And it looks to me already that these two drivers now they can cool down a little bit.
Well, I mean, Nova just basically cut off what I was going to say. He just capitalised on a slight error from Dennis due to his poor tyres and just took it and is now just going to drive off by the looks of it. But yeah, that's pretty much Dennis's race right there. He fought valiantly, even, you know, with his worn tyres, but it was just never going to happen. If it was this close to the if Nova was behind him at this point of the race with 2 minutes 10 seconds to go, then it makes sense. He may have been able to keep the position, but with about 5 minutes, no, not so much. But he did what he needs to do, but in the end, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, Ducati looks like he's retired in the pit, and unfortunately looks like he's had a little bit of an issue with getting the tyres on there, so that's a shame. He's run out of fuel, actually. I think the issue is there. That might be the reason he's stuck down there, and that's a real shame. Nova leads then with 1 minute 35 then, so we will be on the last lap after the... Yep, we'll be on the last lap next lap then, so they will finish it. And Nova leads from Dennis, Sabitov in third, Rafe in fourth. He's getting caught by Ash Racing right now. He made that earlier pit stop, and now he's coming back through to try and get fourth position in this race. 50 seconds off the lead, mind though. But he is going very much a lot quicker right now. And he has the fastest lap of 125.7. So he's pushing on very hard. You can see on board we go then. Now that's it. Same area of the circuit, then down towards the first hairpin. He goes right around the outside. Surely not round the outside there. That'll be brave. That is very brave round the outside. Surely not round the outside. He has gone round the outside there. Why, goodness me, that was impressive stuff. Good credit there, doing it that there is better tyres, of course, but nonetheless, that is a difficult, and he gets a penalty, but he's already pulled 9 tenths away. That was massively impressive to try there, wasn't it?
That is move of the race. That's probably the best move I've seen ever. Around the outside there, like, we've seen it be done on the outside the corner before, but around the outside there, that is just absolutely beautiful and clean racing. There was no forcing each other off the track, you know, contact. Good, clean racing, but absolutely beautiful. You wouldn't see that in F1. You wouldn't see that in many Formula Series, but this car provides, and is providing a great race again, which everyone in the chat seems to love. Yeah, RGB Rafe, the first car to cross the line, and he's seeing the checkered flag, of course, on this game. Once you see the checkered flag, you don't start the last lap, you will finish. Which a little bit unfortunate there. Should be potentially changing that, or maybe sending it to lap races. But Nova is going to take the victory then. That's going to be the third victory of the season for VLX then. That's going to be the third in a row for Nova, I believe, then, as he comes through the chicane then. And you've got to make a standing ovation there, as Fogarty just ahead of it. Nova takes 3 on the trot then. 3 victories. And he is going to go on a rocket ship this season. Dennis in P2 then. So it's a VLX 1-2 yet again for the third time this season. Sabitov then looks like he's going to take third position in this race then. He's just coming through towards the chicane. That really shows how far back he was. Almost half a minute. Here we come then. Sabitov, third position. Ash is in fourth position then right now. Rafe is finished fifth. Gaz in sixth. Alonso in 7th, Fogarty and Nathan Ducati stuck in the pit area out of fuel, remember. And now we're just waiting for Ash to cross the line then. So, VLX take yet another victory, another 1-2 this season.
And they are well and truly on course for a domination, potentially for the rest of it. And now we wait for the last 10 seconds, as remember we have to wait for Ducati, who's the mechanics are looking all over the car, wondering what's going on. As it seems to break it. Oh, they're changing the tyres finally, but it's a little bit too late, Sunshine. And they haven't put the tyres on. But either way, Nova wins from Dennis. And you've got to say, Ethan, yeah, these two drivers are doing brilliant. Yeah.
Just pure domination.
Yeah, of course.
But they're clearly putting the effort in, and that's what sets them apart. You're never going to get any results if you don't put the time, practice, and effort into it. And they're clearly doing that, so you just got to give them the credit for it. Just an absolutely outstanding performance once again.
Now remember, we get ready for the next race, of course, the sprint race, which will be slightly shorter and a little more exciting as well. It should be 30 minutes, I think, 20 or 30, I can't remember off the top of my head, but a slightly reduced time. And this is where we see the action as well, kicking off. Remember as well, a reversed grid as well. So that means Ducati will start on pole position then here today. Sabatov will be second, and then I believe it will run down from there. And don't forget, a 5-minute break.
Well, and it's a nice 20-minute race with super soft tyres also available. Hopefully now, during this break, we'll get some of the drivers we lost from last race back in. I mean, it's, you know, obviously it's not great to see, you know, so, you know, less than 12 drivers, but still sometimes less provides better racing, so, and it clearly proved there. So, regardless of how many there is, as long as the racing's brilliant and the fans love it and the commentators love it, then I don't see the issue.
They do always love a sprint race as well, as sometimes the reduced grid they can often bring up a bit more of a price. Sometimes it does become a procession, but already, Ethan, this is more exciting than the real life Spanish Grand Prix, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, obviously, you know, this is a game, yeah, that's real life. There's obviously a lot of differences, but yeah, I prefer watching this and other, you know, closer racing than, you know, F1. So, yeah, I'm thoroughly being entertained right now.
Indeed, you're always going to get ready then. So 5-minute break, remember, for all these drivers, as it counts up to 2 minutes. So that means only 3 minutes to go in the break. So let's run down that, of course, grid, we believe then. So it should be Ducati starting on the front row then. And, of course, both of the VLX drivers of Nova, he'll be starting in last, and Dennis will be starting second last, and they should be starting 10th and 11th then respectively, if I get the rest of the field back in, which we hope we do. So let's find out in due course, Ethan. But Spain, it's a circuit, especially the older version, and not many people remember it, do they? The old flat out last corner, do they?
No, not many people do remember that. I mean, I don't personally remember it. Obviously, this is more. This layout is the more that I am used to, and to be honest, I do kind of prefer this layout. But the final sector certainly isn't fun in most cases. But I do quite like Catalunya. It is quite a fun track to drive on. For racing, it depends on the type of vehicle you're racing in. And that's the case with most track nowadays. It all depends on the vehicle you're racing at. It's not the track's fault. I mean, obviously track design can be an issue sometimes. Like we've seen with some tracks, track design can be absolutely horrific. But 9 times out of 10, it is down to the car more so than the track.
Yeah, of course. As you can see, the session resetting there to put it to the reverse grid then. So this is where we get to see all the nitty-gritty action side of things. Of course, I grew up watching F1. I've played a lot of older F1 games, especially as well, and I've kind of always got used to, especially the old original format of this circuit. The wide, I think it's a turn, might be turn 9, 10 section there, just after Camper, that very famous right-hander where we've seen many a car go off. Had a chicane put in there once in 1994, of course, after the tragic events of the couple of weeks before. Now, and of course since then they've changed the circuit a lot. Now this is where we'll see all the drivers coming on circuit. They'll be going through the first sector and then stopping, and this is of course setting themselves to the reversed grid format, and this just allows everyone to run a lot more smoothly. And I've got to say, Ethan, especially as other games like Project Cars, for example, they could learn from this, couldn't they, with having proper integrated reverse grids.
Yeah, it's something all games could learn, but that's just down to the developers, really. I mean, Project Cars 2 is, let's just use that as an example compared to this game. Project Cars 2 is different in many ways, certainly when it comes to physics and, you know, cars, etc, but there's features that game misses, and reverse grids is one of those things. Getting vehicles into a reverse grid on Project Cars 2 requires the drivers manually doing it themselves, and that sometimes doesn't always seem best fit. But yeah, it's nice and easy for these guys on GT Sport and other games which allows it, because they don't have to worry about crashing their car into somebody else and acquiring damage from doing that. So it's nice to see that other games allow this functionality.
Indeed, as well, as Sapatov comes back into the pit and then does his practice pit stop, probably making sure he gets tyres on there, which is always the important thing. So we should be getting ready to go in probably the next 2-3 minutes, then a 3-minute waiting corner, then we have a 20-minute sprint race. There's a few drivers flying off the road there. That's Ducati. They're practicing pulling up. They're outside a brick wall that I've never seen before. So we've got to say, especially this game, the atmosphere is incredible on this game, isn't it?
Yeah, the atmosphere is incredible. This is something I love about Gran Turismo Sport. Like, when I'm driving around tracks like Le Mans, Nürburgring, Spa, you know, the big blue ribbon is the term that I've seen used by some drivers. You know, the blue ribbon 24-hour tracks, and sometimes, you know, Daytona and Bathurst. You know, when I look at tracks like Bathurst and Le Mans and the Nordschleife on this game on Gran Turismo, the atmosphere around the track, it's brilliant. You see all, you know, the campfires, the lights that, you know, the fans bring, you know, and they flash and they just light up the circuit. And you just don't quite get that in other games, but you know, that's a shame, because the environment around the circuit is what it can also be like a distraction, because while the drivers are flying past, they've got all these flashing lights in different colours, you know, and it can, you know, certainly distract the drivers. And that's what Gran Turismo does well. It gets that atmosphere and, you know, the feeling of motorsport, and that's something other games lack, to be honest. Yeah, the feeling and the environment of motorsport.
Yeah, Ducati right now, if you wonder what he's doing, he is currently driving around the, believe that, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Rallycross circuit. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And this is something we'd love to see on this game, especially they have the model of the Rallycross circuit. And that's just the attention to detail. That would be a
good thing. That would be a nice addition, that Rallycross on this game.
Of course, has it on, of course, Rally 2.0. Believe that league is getting started back up on not Gran Turismo, on AOR, so do check that out, of course, and it should be starting in due course, if I'm not mistaken. So that's always exciting. In terms of the season, by the way, next week, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we go to Santa Croce, if I'm not terribly mistaken. Let me just check the calendar, actually, and I'll confirm that with myself.
No, it's Kyoto combined.
So Kyoto, and of course they'll be driving on the medium and soft, and of course the soft and the super soft. So that's always exciting. In fact, all the races are on the medium and the soft tyres, actually. So always good to see, as well as all the drivers are having a bit of fun right now, getting ready to go. And again, we're just going to say, actually, turn 3, I believe, in these cars. I was just looking at there for some Sabbath there. It looks like it's almost flat out, you know.
It is flat out, yeah.
Which is just incredible.
It's flat out for most cars.
Yeah, it just proves the amount of downforce these cars. You wouldn't imagine these cars look like they have a lot of downforce, but surprisingly, they have a lot more than you think, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've got reduced, obviously, they don't have as many elements as, say, like a Formula 2 car or an F1 car, you know, that's Japanese spec racing for you, but they still produce enough downforce where they can go round corners flat out where other cars can. I mean, even GT3 cars with the right downforce settings and the right, suspension geometry, can get through turn 3 flat out. I've done it myself, and it's scary, but it's fun though. So if a GT3 car can do it, I wouldn't be surprised if a Super Formula can do it.
Of course, 10 years ago, and there was a good interview with Jenson Button and Harvey Davidson on the Sky Pad, of course, and they were talking about how the 2009 Brawn, a car that, in its own right, a very quick car, couldn't do turn 3 flat out, and it proves the development of cars with downforce levels, especially in the last 10 years of motorsport, even, doesn't it? How much more downforce cars can produce.
It's brilliant. Like, I'm going to use GT cars for example, because that's an area that I'm into, and let's compare the, what's the car? The Bentley Continental. Let's take the first generation Continental. Big, broad, not much downforce. It looked like a massive bathtub going around a circuit. I mean, it was a spectacle to see, but it didn't look, great. And then we look at the second generation Continental, and I've seen that car in person up close, and it is mesmerizing. The elements of the car, the diffuser, the wing, it's so mesmerizing. The development that goes into the car, any car, is unreal, and it's seen from all classes and categories of motorsport. The development is unreal, like all the way from down to Formula Ford, the chassis. There's new chassis developed for Formula Ford, all the way up to Formula 1, where they're developing all these little pieces of elements that just affect the downforce to a point where it could be race changing. It can provide more wins. It changes the performance so dramatically, and motorsport's just changed dramatically in the past couple of years. I mean, even hydrogen powered vehicles is now coming into play. It's just unreal how so much has changed in such a short time period, only a decade, and all this has changed.
Yeah, and especially with chains, unfortunately, and it's a big side effect of motorsport, especially in likes of Formula 1, GT racing as well, in essence, has come of it, especially in WEC, of course. They've changed it, of course, but the cars are getting bigger and bigger each year. Of course, WEC, especially endurance racing, they're going to be getting smaller in the next couple of years as well, especially when the new Formula comes in for that. But especially F1 cars and Formula 2 cars, the size of them are massive, aren't they?
It's ridiculous. Like, when you look at the schematics of, which is a diagram for those who don't understand what a schematic is, a diagram of the F1 cars. When you take the Lotus Type 49, that is a tiny car, and then compare it to like a Mercedes. The Mercedes is a yacht. It is a super yacht compared to that. It's unreal. The F1 cars are huge now, and that's what makes racing difficult at certain tracks. And you can't blame. The tracks were designed way before these cars were even considered by the organizers of these events, the head of the events, the FIA, etc.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's just the way things are nowadays, though.
Let's get ready to go then for round number 2 then, or technically round number 4 in technicality then, as I believe the race has been called to stop then, cancel. We've got a red flag then here in this Spanish Grand Prix. A red flag's been called. Now, what's happened there then? So, we've had an issue, something's gone wrong. And that there has gone wrong. It should be a rolling start, so an issue there. And that is the last thing they wanted to do.
Drivers?
Nope, it was the setup. The session was set up wrong then, so a small technical issue, and that just can happen. The race has been cancelled. It has been postponed then there, but we'll get it back going in just a few moments' time. And these things can crop up, unfortunately, but we'll get back going straight away then. So, what I was saying, especially if you look, especially in for example, Lewis Hamilton's career, the 2017 car compared to the 2007 car, it's almost twice the size. And
it's unreal, yeah.
It's amazing, and that just proves, especially you think of it, how hard cars are overtaken, especially around Monaco. You don't see any overtakes anymore. That's the reason why. In endurance racing, the cars have become a lot bigger as well, especially in GT as well, I believe, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's one GT car that comes into mind when you say big, and that's the MA. I mean, that's got its own meme going because it's that large, but that Yes, cars are changing as technology improves, and it's just down to regulation and, you know, what the teams are able to do and what, you know, the organizer of these events can do in regards to how things are simulated and formulated. But yeah, it's just unreal, but just the size of the cars. I mean, F1 cars are just huge. And does it ruin the racing? To a certain degree, yes, it does. But other times we do get some brilliant racing, and it has shined through a few times in the F1 2019 season. But yeah, with smaller cars like with the Super Formulas, it's proved to be a lot better.
Indeed, it certainly has as well, and especially as we're on the topic of cars getting larger, we should kind of talk the opposite, because in some categories they're going to get smaller, aren't they? With the likes
What's
of
that?
Yeah, some categories as well, especially as the LMP1 category comes to its renaissance. It's coming to an end in essence, isn't it? Next year.
We got the 2019-2020 Super Season obviously coming up, and then after that, there is not really much we don't know about. Apparently, the hypercar regulation plan is coming to a close, supposedly. Just not enough manufacturers, and this is the thing. You gotta make sure whatever you're planning to do for the next set of seasons or future, it has got to be stable. It's gotta be popular, and if it isn't, you're gonna lose the interest of the fans, which is the most important thing. If you lose the interest of the fans, the series is gone. That's it. And that's something WEC is losing right now with the Toyota domination and the rather underpowered LMP1 privateer cars and these hypercar regulations, which have sparked, you know, like, oh, you know, modern GT1 cars or the old glory days of GT1 is now starting to fade away because they just can't find the manufacturers to do it now.
As well as domination in motorsport, especially in the likes of F1, as well as endurance racing, WEC, these big teams with these high budgets. And do you think, Ethan, the amount of budget teams are putting in now is kind of ruining racing in essence?
I don't think it's not the teams that are to blame for, it's the organisers. I mean, when you look at F1, I mean, yeah, Mercedes spent, what was it, like 13 million just on engine units. I mean, they've just got the money to do that because they've been dominating the turbo hybrid era. But, like, I think, you know, each team should just get a set amount of money at the end of each season, because then it makes it at least a bit more fair. But then I guess, you know, F1, you know, big teams like Ferrari and, you know, Mercedes probably won't like that, because then they can't develop the cars to the way they want to. The way they want to, because they want to be out there winning all the time. I mean, Toto Wolff has said unrealistically that's never going to happen with Mercedes, but the way it's been going, that's just the way it looks. But budget, you know, everything is regarding money in motorsport. If you've got the money, you're going to succeed, and that's the way it's proved with Toyota and Mercedes in two completely different categories of motorsport. But if you've got the money, you're pretty much set.
As now, I think this time we are about to get going again then, as the final begins for the second time in, well, technically the third time, but we'll forget the last one happened, so it's the second time now. We're getting ready to start here today. Now, a rolling start on the grid then, and you can see CPT ahead of Rossi, Fogarty, Alonso, Gaz, Rafe, Ass, Sabitov, Dennis, Nova. And down the back then must be Nova. Yep, Nova down at the back. So, this is now the sprint race. 20 minutes ahead of the drivers. Let's see what they can do then. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be interesting to see any mistakes happens. Of course, anything can happen in this race, and it usually does. So let's get ready to go then. Let's get rolling. And here we are then, straight into the race. And it's a good start immediately then from CPT. Ahead of Ducati Rossi there in P2, but making a good start there. Fogarty, I think, having a look as well. Ducati up the inside there. Rossi, and everyone's going off there. Alonso, good start for him there as they come through turn 1 and 2. One car in the gravel there in turn 3. I think that might be RGB Wraith there. Up the hill they come then. And CPT, they're making a good start. And here comes Ducati Rossi, though. Immediately into the lead of this race then. So Ducati, he's done what's needed. He's made a good start. And he leads the Spanish Grand Prix straight off the start then. Ahead of CPT and Alonso. Fogarty dropped out a few positions there as he comes down towards the hairpin for the first time. But crucially for Ducati, he leads. CPT now in second. Alonso, good start for him and the fellow NGP team then. Good start for those guys there. You can see Gazmania and the other RGB car coming through past Fogarty. He's down to 5th. Ass into 6th. Now in the background they can see VLX drivers there of Nova and Rafe down right at the back there as Rafe down the back. There is Dennis and Nova in 9th and 8th right now. So again a bad start there from Rafe. And there you can see Alonso, Ducati and Rossi all battling away there with CPT Double J. It is Alonso who leads this race now, surprisingly. So Alonso, out of all this, now leads the Spanish Grand Prix. The 2 Spanish drivers lead 1 and 2. Here comes CPT down the straight though, so he's going to try and take that backlands. They go 2 by 2 by 2 down the straight. There you can see Ass battling away there with Savitov down towards turn 1. Rossi goes a little bit wide off the circuit there, back on it right in the middle of the pack. Keeps each other on the island. Great racing between all these drivers though. Gaz round the outside of Ass, up the inside. And this is crazy start to a race, I must say. Look at the drama and action going on right now. Is it
absolutely manic right now?
It all kicks off down towards the hairpin up the inside there. Fogarty hits Ass there a little bit as they all get bumped up, and this is getting a little bit messy as they all somehow fight for positions. No surprising cars have gone off the road dramatically though, so we still got them all in the race, still all pointing in the right direction, and that is the crucial thing. They're all in this race and they're all driving flat out, hard as they can then, and it is crucial that we don't see any cars making mistakes. There is Ash getting a little bit wide out of the corner, but still pushing on there as hard as ballistic, and there's more contact there's Ducati getting involved in it. They're going 3 abreast and this is getting very messy indeed as Fogarty takes the positions back now and into the hairpin, into the chicane. 1 car off. This is absolute carnage there. I think Ass goes straight on over the chicane. My goodness, look at this, they're all bunching together here.
I have no idea what's going on right now. There's just cars everywhere.
This is absolute carnage. Look at this down the straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. Ass covers them off there, and then VLX Dennis up to 4th. Where's he? Oh no, never mind. Never mind, they've all gone wrong. There's been a massive shunt there. Someone's gone straight into the back of all of them. And there you can see Ass goes off, and VLX is all going wrong. Cars going off the road. It's absolute carnage here in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix, the sprint race, and Alonso has got a massive lead as well as Fogarty. What carnage have we seen right now, Ethan? Because look, Sapitov's into 3rd. VLX Dennis, ridiculous. He's not very happy with it at all. It's all kicking off today. There you can see Ducati Rossi. Dennis is down in 10th. And this is incredible.
Yeah, someone just basically torpedoed everyone at turn 1. It's a simple way to put it. Don't know if that's just like lag issues or something, I don't know. Yeah, just a torpedo into turn 1. I mean, Dennis was like, what was he? He was like 4th at one point, and he just got absolutely eradicated by someone by the looks of it.
Ducati Rossi. It was Ducati Rossi then who was the one who went straight into the back of the other car, and then everything just kicked off from that. You can see it getting really messy in the corner, and that's Ducati Rossi causing absolute carnage in this race right off the start there. So that's what's happened. That is the reason why we've had a lot of drama going on. And he right now down in 8th position. Dennis in 10th as actually, there we go, out of the race there. He does go, then exactly just as I was saying, he was down in 10th and he's gone. So only 9 runners in this race. Nova up in 5th, I must say, but they're doing an incredible job coming through this field. 14 minutes to go in the sprint race, Ethan. And, well, what can we say from this race so far? Alonso leads and Fogarty is in 2nd, and they're doing a good job.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate to see Dennis go because he's come back. Well, I mean, he finished 2nd, so he's got to fight his way through the field, and he's just been torpedoed off, and I don't want to say this, but is that rage quit? I don't know. It obviously, because it just says he's left the room. We don't know if that's connection issue or if he has indeed left by his own choices. No. We don't like to see it though, do we?
Yeah, of course. One return from this race. There actually being two actually now there, but
no, Dennis is still there.
Yeah, it was Ducati Rossi who left. So I think
it was Dennis who went. Never mind. Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, Ducati Rossi there. Out of the race. You think he's left then? So I think he might be taken to the stewards after this potentially. So a little bit awkward, unfortunately for him. But right now, Alonso leads Fogarty. Sabitov there in third, catching and trying to overtake Fogarty. Now around the outside, down towards turn number 1. Let's see. Long way around then on the brake. Let's see. Hey, Sabitov got the opportunity to come around the outside then? No, I don't think so. Try and get a good cut back low. Now tries around the outside into turn number 3. Now he'll try and get the inside line then, and that's a textbook cutback, I must say. Up the inside, and Fogarty's rather been mugged there, and you can see that absolutely incredible maneuver, I must say. Textbook, lined it up beautifully, got the apex perfect, and Fogarty there rather tricked into making that tighter line, Ethan, and was just overtaken with ease that.
Pretty much, yeah. He just opened up the first turn at the chicane, got the car hooked up in turn 2, opened up turn 3. Obviously, Fogarty was defending the inside line to turn 3, so his entry was almost immediately compromised. So to keep the car on track and avoid going off, off and gaining a penalty, he had to take a slower line and also bleed speed, which just allowed Sabitov to just fly up the inside, maintain speed, and now he's pulling away.
Indeed, he is pulling away now then. So Sabitov there in P2 right now, 2 seconds off the lead, and Sabitov could be a man on the chance for a win today, but 12 minutes to go, so anything can happen in those 12 minutes. Right now we're looking at RGB, CPT and Dennis, and Dennis is going to be a man who's going to be trying to come through this field very quickly, I feel, Ethan.
Dennis, yeah, he got up to 4th after the calamities of what was basically a Super Formula
explosion
gathering. Yeah, an explosion of Super Formulas everywhere. With 12 minutes to go, anything's still possible, but things just seem to be calming down now. I mean, I think everyone's finished getting hyper and are now starting to calm down and get their minds into gear and trying to finish the race.
Right now, Dennis now just overtaken CPT whilst we were talking, up to 8th position now, so he's starting to get a bit of a move on right now. Next car will be 7th, that'll be Ass, and then it'll be his teammate Nova, who's currently in 5th. He was caught out in all this drama as well. He's trying to close up to Rafe right now. And of the pace these drivers had earlier on, I wouldn't put it past them if they could get a victory here today still. Nova, he's only 8 seconds behind the lead, and the lead there you can see just up the road, and they can see now riding around the outside towards that hairpin. Let's see, thought about it there. Can't do it. On board we go then with Nova as they come up towards the last couple of corners of this lap. 11 minutes to go. Still a long race, still a lot of drama can happen. Now they're down into the chicane for what is the 6th time then in this race. Chucking to the left, chucking into the right. Now he's right up his chuff here. And I think, let's see, get a good exit. Doesn't get a good exit, though. He gets a terrible exit in essence. But look at the speed it'll carry down this straight with the slipstream here. It's very powerful in these Super Formula cars. He'll force Rafe to go defensive then if he's not even going to bother. So Nova will get the position done then. So Rafe rather knows he's not going to battle there too hard there. In the background, Dennis there passes Gazmania. So in the space of a few hundred yards, as there goes Gaz off the road. Now he loses the rear end, gets the car, and he goes round spinning that. And that is an easy thing to do. Lost the rear traction out of the corner, spun the car through 360 degrees. And let's have a look at that then, shall we? And see what happened then. On board we go then. So is he going to take the curb then? Yeah, got on the curb. Same thing that happened earlier on with a few other cars. Alonso did that as well earlier on. Got on that curb and he spun the car around straight away. So easy thing to do, Ethan, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems that inside curb at turn 2 is causing some issues. But whenever they get on that grass and just slightly put their foot down, that grass just kicks them around and just plays with the car. And it just costs you a heap of time. And in a 40-minute race it's not such an issue, but in a short sprint race like this, That's pretty much game over right there.
Yeah, meanwhile, top two battling together up very aggressively there. Good slide there from Alonso. Sabatov, though, I mentioned he was going to try and take this lead as soon as he can. And look what we've got. Here we go, up the slipstream. Let's see, down the straight. Alonso will start to pull ever so slightly. A bit of a wiggle on there. Now let's see up the inside. Here comes Sabatov then. Down towards turn number 1. Alonso will hold the outside line. Be brave. Stuff side by side. Alonso runs off the road there. Now back on it. Side by side. Around the outside into turn number 3. Can't do it. We'll have to pull into the slipstream now. Can he try and get the cut back? He did this on Fogarty earlier on. Now he can try it again. Thinks of it. Can't do it. As now runs wide. Now Sabatov gets a good exit again now on the next corner. But still, can't do it. Alonso holds the line beautifully right now.
Yep. Alonso's parking his car on the line where Sabatov needs to be going to get that cut back. And he's just doing what he needs to do. He's on the line. He's defending cleanly and fairly. And Sabatov's just got to wait a little bit, it seems. Because he's got the pace and he's just got to put the pressure on. Keep his car in the mirrors and keep Alonso's guard around him.
Look at
and
Alonso's
try and force a mistake.
Look at Alonso's tyres, they're absolutely shot. They're down to the carcass nearly, so he'll be coming in, I imagine, this lap surely. With only 8 minutes to go, he's got to come in. Because those tyres, they're going to go.
They're racing softs as well. I mean, if he's doing that to the racing softs, I can't imagine what he's going to do to the super soft compounds when he gets onto them.
And there he is coming in. He is coming in now then, so to compare that to second position's tyres right now, they're absolutely fine. Down into second place there, and that there is of Nova, I believe, that, and his teammate as well. And you can just see, look at the tyres, they're all very even between those 3 drivers, so they're being a lot more cautious. And Sabatov, Nova and Dennis right now as they come through turn 1, 2 and 3 then on lap number 9 then. And there ahead of CPT Double J, and he's doing a good job. Alonso comes out the pit then he should be very close to RGB Wraith, who's a little bit further back actually, so less close than I anticipated. Fogarty in 7th, as in 8th. So these 3 have all come in the pit lane. RGB Gazmania as well after that spin earlier on, right down the back. Sabatov leads out from Nova. The gap now 1.6 seconds. So we mentioned that it was closing, and now it's only over a second even. So that just shows how much pace these drivers already have today.
Yeah, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Dennis got all the way up to 4th, and then got torpedoed, and now he's back into 3rd. I mean, he's still yet to pit though, isn't he? Yeah.
Potentially, of course, we don't know. They could try and stretch. We saw this last week with these drivers stretching out to try and do the one-stop strategy. So I think they're going to try it again. You know, they did it last week, especially Nova and Dennis, and they got caught right at the end by Ass, I think. Actually, I think it was the other way around. Ass stayed out and these guys came in. In comes the leader. Second place of Nova stays out. I think Dennis as well stays out. So Violette lead 1-2 again then. 6 minutes to go. And are we going to see piss-offs? Looking at the tyres, they're about halfway for the leader and a little bit less for Dennis. So it's possible they could go they should be able to go the next 5 minutes comfortably. They might lose a bit of time. Alonso is going to be the man on the mission right now to try and catch these guys. 17 seconds to the leader. RGB Wraith and Fogarty there as well with them. So Fogarty a lot more better form right now. He's currently in 6th position there as Sabatov comes out just ahead of RGB Wraith right now. So Fogarty having a bit more of a better form today, Ethan, than last week.
Yeah, it just seems to be more hooked up with the car. I guess maybe, you know, maybe a lack of practice or inexperience, but he seems to be on the pace now. I mean, 6th is a good result for him. Obviously, there's not as many drivers here, so he's going to definitely gain positions in the championship standings due to some people not turning up to the event or dropping out. So a good evening for him today.
A very good evening, but a good evening right now for Dennis and Nova. But look, Alonso's taken 2 seconds out that last lap then. The last lap, of course, of a 126.0. Compare that to the leaders who are setting a 128.9 and a 129.2. So he's taking, what, 2-3 seconds. The leads guys are, they're going to have to really be cautious as well. They've only got 4 minutes, so this could be a bit close actually. Alonso, has he got an audacious strategy here, or has Nova and Dennis pulled something out the bag and managed to do a 0 stop and everyone else is doing a 1 stop? Let's find out. in 4 minutes time. He's gonna, so we'll have, I believe, what, 4 laps, 5 laps to go, Ethan, would you say?
About 4 or 5 laps, yeah, maybe. I mean, Alonso's pace is amazing, but behind him in Sabatov, he's on the super soft compound, and we don't know what his pace is like, but he's bound to probably put in a fast lap in soon.
Yeah, last lap of 126 compared to Alonso's 127, so he's going quicker as well. Behind them, meanwhile, in a 6th position, Assa's going even quicker right now, or as 127 as well. So they're pushing on very quick right now, but they're catching the leaders with 4 minutes to go. Alonso, 11 seconds. Behind them, Sabatov, 4 seconds, and then Rafe as well catching. So this could be very interesting and stuff. And I mentioned that Fogarty was doing well in 6th. Now he's been overtaken down to 7th now, so I may have cursed him ever so slightly now as he starts to drop down the field now. Let's hope he can keep that position though, but who knows. But 3 seconds between the top 2, and you could see Novus has got better tyres right now than Dennis, doesn't he?
Yes, definitely got better tyres. I mean, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go, well, or 3 minutes 30, 3 minutes 20, all he's got to do is just not make a mistake and maintain the tyres, because Alonso and Sabatov are going to be coming in like a missile on steroids to the pace they're going at.
Oh, not to do that though.
We're bound to find a fast lap, a new fastest lap coming in soon.
Yeah, as Alonso just almost spun, just as you said, they're coming in like a missile, so
yeah,
the missile a little bit out of control.
Yeah, very out of control missile, but yeah, that's just the nature of GT Sport, that, you know, when you apply the throttle down and the car just kicks out a little bit. It seems to be a game feature in GT Sport.
Meanwhile, I mentioned, is Fogarty going to keep 7th position? The answer, no. No, he's not going to keep 7th. Now he's down to 8th, so it's going downhill. I mentioned he was doing well, and I've cursed him, haven't I, Ethan?
Yeah. You seem to have a thing for cursing people nowadays.
As he goes backwards.
I guess Foggy just hasn't pitted yet, or his tyres are just burning off. Has he? Well, I guess he's just not hooked up then.
Got fresh tyres, so he just seems to be struggling for whatever reason. He just hasn't got the car hooked up. He's got fresher tyres than the leaders at least. Let's have a look at the leaders, by the way, and let's have a look at their tyres. And it's about halfway, and you can see then by the looks of the tyres from Dennis that he's going to be under real pressure in a moment, I think. 7 seconds. 2 minutes to go. You know what? I think Dennis might just get away with this.
He might just get away with it unless something very, very catastrophic happens. We got about
2 laps.
2 laps to go. Yeah, 2 laps to go.
Alonso, 10 seconds off the leader. He's only 7 seconds off of 2nd position. Let's have a look at the lap time then. So, Alonso's last lap time of 127.8. Compare that to 2nd places there. This is going to be the crucial one. A 133 seconds a lap quicker. With 2 laps to go, the gap is 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Now, if Dennis's tyres continue to drop off, I think Alonso could just get 2nd. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close, Ethan. But if he can just manage to eke out a bit of time, he's got it.
Yeah, I mean, Alonso's catching him, but Sabatov is catching up even faster, who is on a softer compounded tyre. So Alonso's chase for 2nd place could be cut off short by the close proximity of Sabatov.
Yeah, Sabatov going 4 seconds a lap quicker than everyone else right now, so he is flying as there. You can see Alonso runs a bit wide, and this is all allowing Dennis right now to open that gap up. The gap is not closing. It's not 3 seconds, it's 6 seconds. And this is the crucial thing. We're beginning the last lap then of this motor race. Here comes Nova through the last corner then to begin what will be the last lap, because we've got 26 seconds to go. So it'll be the last lap beginning now then of technicality. Some drivers will finish the race, of course, potentially on this lap, unfortunately. Very close. Let's see if any of these drivers down the back, they're going to get caught out. You know, some of these drivers even right down the back, they're going to have to be going very quick right now because they're going to run out of time just about. I think they might all make it. 2, 1, is that's just going to make cross the line. Yes, he does then. So he'll get another lap though, but Fogarty does finish the race then in 8th position, and Gaz will finish in 9th. So that's confirmed positions for those guys. So now let's see. Nova 4 seconds. The gap's down to 4. Sabatov's passed Alonso then on the last lap. So Alonso's made a mistake then, right on the last lap. Sabatov,
sense.
yeah. That's fourth.
Yeah,
Now, gap's closing, it's only 3 seconds. I don't think he'll catch on this last lap, though. It's going to be audacious and bold if he does anything, unless Dennis makes a mistake.
Well, I mean, it's entirely possible, but I'm pretty sure Dennis is just going to be nursing the car. I mean, then again, I mean, there is Sabatov. He's just coming into shot. For a brief moment, it's going to be, yeah, whoa, this could be very, 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 very close. But I just think Dennis might just have it in the bag, but I don't want to curse him just yet.
All right, here comes Nova then. He's going to take 4 wins out of 4 then here in the GT Sport Super Formula Series. Then he took 2 last time out in Fuji. He's taken 2 today in Spain. Dennis, he's going to finish second then to his double on the trot for VLX then. That's 4 wins out of 4 tries then. Sabatov in third. Alonso fourth. Rafe, he's going to finish ahead of CPT just about then. So Rafe fifth. CPT sixth is seventh. Fogarty eighth. And Gazmania ninth then. And that there is the rundown then. And Nova and VLX 4 victories. Again, domination for the team. The number 555 then on the top step of the podium with the golden trophy. And surely, as everyone explodes down the camera screen, but beautiful driving. Got to say, these VLX boys, could they take every win this season, Ethan? It's looking promising, doesn't it?
I'm going to remain on a realistic and neutral basis here. I do not know. It's entirely possible they could put in the effort and certainly go for it, but anything can happen in sim racing. I mean, really anything can happen. They can be doing really well now and then they might drop off, or they will put in the effort and go for every win. But at the moment it's looking very promising.
Indeed. Well, until next time, in just 7 days, where we do go, of course, to, as I forget what it's called again, a circuit that I cannot pronounce. Let's try and pronounce it. Kyoto. There it is then, the one track that always eludes my mind. And some of the drivers frustrated there of the struggles they had. Until we see you in Kyoto Park in 7 days' time, for me and Ethan, thank you for joining me in the comments box today. Hopefully, potentially, we'll see you next week. Who knows? But until then, thank you for joining us here for GT Sport. I have been Evil. Ethan has been Ethan. Until next time, goodbye.